The normal nofap advice that all you need to do to quit pornography is just have a streak going on and eventually you'll quit, eventually you'll be free is false. Because guess what? Pornography isn't a problem of impulse, it's a problem of emotion. You see some level of benefit in it, whether it be running away from shame, from fear, from guilt, or some sort of brainwashing inside of your mind, and that's why you run away from pornography, and hence that's why you also return back to it. Because whilst it may cause you the shame and the fear and the guilt, it is also the thing that you believe solves that. So this is why you are stuck in it, because you have not addressed the reason that you're using pornography emotionally. The most people who are trying to quit porn, especially through nofap, are trapped not by addiction but by delusion that they're in control because they're counting the streaks. But this isn't true, because most of them are running again on fear, on guilt, on shame, on these little ghosts which they believe haunt them. They have very bad relationship with motivation and their understanding of themselves, and they just continuously try to use negative emotions, negative or destructive methods to quit it when that's inherently what's causing the problem. They start thinking, I must stop or I'm weak. So there are different ways that people regulate themselves or stay sane or have motivation, right? And these are called regulatory or motivational types. So some people often use these destructive methods of motivation, of regulation, to fix their problem, not realizing that this is inherently what's causing the problem in the first place. For example, thinking that I must stop or I'm weak is an example of introjected regulation, which is you not being motivated by external things like your brain health or the number on the streak, but instead what it means to you not being left behind, not being weak, not being hopeless, etc. And that's what matters. That's why you try to do it. But you don't realize that because you are putting yourself in this sort of situation, in this sort of dichotomy that either I stop or I'm weak, you never give yourself the solution to become strong. Because you're just constantly running away from the problem. Same with I'm doing this to impress others or win a streak. This is external regulation, which means that you only care about an external motivation, like perhaps a reward, or running away from something negative like brain damage or anything else. And this doesn't work because you again are not having an inherent desire to quit porn, an inherent desire to move on. As soon as the streak is removed, you start having these seeds of doubt that you're worthless, that you're this or that, and that this isn't worth it. Or people start making fun of you, or you have some other negative emotions like stress or anger. You will find out that external regulation doesn't work. Same with a motivation. This is arguably the saddest one. Motivation comes from you trying something over and over and over again, but because you didn't know the right method to do it, you just at one point give up and just start thinking that there is no solution to this, I'm stuck in this, I'm trapped, I might as well go deeper. And this is the saddest one of them all. These are all, however, fragile motivators, and fragile things break. To actually get something which lasts, you need to figure out what is the reason that you are stuck in this type of motivational regulatory types, and hence move on. Hi, I'm Vansh, and I have helped multiple people quit pornography, including my own addiction, which lasted 9 years. And I was just this person who was constantly stuck in the phone, was fat, had problems with many things, and quitting gave me the confidence to work out, start working out, get girls, and also just take care of myself, improve my grades, improve everything else. Eventually, I started helping others with Dominant Mind, which is my course and coaching, and I helped these people like Ben, who was someone from UK who had problems with pornography, who was using it every single day, who had shit mental health because of it and couldn't focus on his grades. And when I started helping him, he was dealing with his A-level examinations, which determine the university that you go to. So it was very important for him to quit pornography. His grades ended up being higher than his average, higher than he thought, because he was quitting pornography during the same time as the exams. Quitting gave him the time, the mental space, the clarity to not just overcome pornography, but also to improve his overall life, his grades. And that could happen because he went about it in the right way, not just white knuckling it or using willpower, but instead being smart about it. And that's what differentiates nofap and my method. So same was the story with Rehan. Rehan was someone who struggled with pornography, who used it every single day, who had a hard time speaking to girls. And because I helped him, I came into his life. He went on to become a national level junior golfer. He had the courage, the confidence to go into that. He's going to US in a few months now because of this, and he has had such a drastic transformation. Not just him, but also Ben, but also me, and this can be you too. Now again, I cannot stress this enough. Pornography is a problem of unmet emotional and psychological needs. I cannot stress this enough, and this is based on the research of Edward Deci, who has been searching psychology, who has been searching human understanding, human conditions for the last 40 years, and he has done an excellent job. His research has been used by Nobel laureates and whatnot. So this is you right now. You are someone who is under control of pornography because they have given you brainwashings, they have given you false ideas that pornography will help you meet your unmet emotional, your psychological needs. But this isn't true. What are these emotional needs, you may ask? These are, first, competence, having the ability to do things, to fix your own problems. It's relatedness, second thing, which is being related to people, having a community, doing something with others. And this third is autonomy, being self-sufficient to an extent. So these are all three things that a person desires, that a person wants. And pornography, due to self-limiting beliefs, due to brainwashings and trickery, it tricks them into thinking that these emotional needs can be met by pornography. But much like when you're thirsty, if you drink salt water, if you drink sea water, you will get sick and you will get even thirstier, because it is not the solution. It is instant gratification. So the way that pornography lies to you is by telling you that you have autonomy by using pornography, because they tell you that, oh no, even if I can't control my grades, even if I can't control my health, even if I can't do this, do that, even if I have low willpower, at least pornography is something which helps me. At least it is the one thing that I can control, right? And it tells you these things, but this is in fact false. And it tells you other things like this. For example, with competence, it says that it's educational, I'm getting better at sex, or any other bullshit reason like that. Same with relatedness. I love that actress, everyone else does it. Look at my friends, they're also fellow degenerates, blah blah blah. But these are all lies. Pornography destroys your autonomy because you can't even control your own damn urges. They have so much control over you, and you're slowly giving more and more to them, and you're getting less autonomous, you're getting less self-sufficient. Same with competence. It replaces your growth, actual growth into life, with escapism, with avoidance, with not learning emotional resilience, with not doing things which truly matter to you, with not being the best version of yourself that you want to be. Same with relatedness. It leaves you reclusive, it leaves you isolated, it leaves you ashamed, it leaves you unconfident. So why do you think that it's helping your relatedness when you could instead be going on dates, when you could instead be hanging out with the boys, but instead you're stuck in this phone looking at this silicon screen with light coming out of it, and you think that that's helping your relatedness, that's helping your competence, that's helping your autonomy? This isn't just a problem for you, but this is a problem with society overall, and it manifests in different ways for different people. For example, some people may have a problem with junk food or sweets. Some people may just constantly binge Netflix shows, and it's a problem of escapism, of thinking that consumerism, of live, laugh, love, and other bullshit ways of living life will actively help you, but they don't. Because what you need to realize is that society, culture, your friends are all obsessed with comfort, consumerism, passiveness, not working towards something which actually matters to them. And they aren't inherently evil, but they are mediocre, and following them will also make you mediocre, will also make you sad, will also make you further want to go into these things which again do not help you quit pornography, do not help you live a healthy life, do not help you be happy. So why are you doing them? They are all based on self-limiting beliefs. They are all based on false brainwashings which do not help you. So what you will realize is that porn generally isn't even a problem of horniness. When you use it, most of the time, it's to run away from a problem. It's to run away from stress. It's to feel good when you're feeling bad or something else like that. And it's a problem of programming, of thinking that societal brainwashing, something like watching these shows or consumerism or passiveness will help me rejuvenate, will help me reduce my stress, but it doesn't. Fixing the actual problem does, but instead, because of societal brainwashing, they get worse. So you were taught that you should believe that it helps, but it doesn't. You were conditioned to escape into it, but the problem never goes away. You were brainwashed by the culture, the nofap myths, the industry lies that this will help you. So you were also brainwashed by culture, of course, but also by nofap, that this is a demon inside of your head, that if you have this gene, that we are all naturally addicted to it, that someone who says he's not addicted is just give him one day and he will be addicted all of a sudden. And they just tell you these lies, they fearmonger on you because that's how they want to keep you trapped. But be honest. But again, this is all a learned behavior. If you were lonely, would you inject heroin? That sounds absurd, right? Same with, would you buy a hooker who might give you STDs if you were lonely? That also is a no. So why do you use pornography, which many people would say no to? Because you learned that it was something which may help you, and it might have helped the first few times because you believed that it helped you, but overall you're starting to realize that it's pervasive, that it doesn't help you, that long term it's something which will eat away at you rather than build you up. So is porn the answer? No, it never was, but it was taught to you, it was gaslit to you by someone else. But you can overcome this because anything which is taught can also be unlearned. And guess what? Even the advice on r/nofap, which is the way that most people get introduced to it, is stupid because they are not trying to help you. They have very bad advice, and most of the people there are addicted and don't even know how to help themselves. For example, look at this person just fucking crazily counting the days without porn, and he's just making a post for it every single day rather than be out there living his life. And instead, there's people who are using cult-like language. There's also over 1.2 million people there. Now, do you think that all of them are addicted? Let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and say about 300,000 people or something are not addicted. For example, they could be there for someone else, they could be moderators, they could be people who just like to lurk, or people who have already quit. So that leaves 900,000 people who have a problem with pornography. That's more than 2 stadiums worth of people. That's more than the population of some countries. And over 900,000 of these people are out there giving shit advice, reading shit advice from r/nofap because they are all suffering and they don't realize that the advice they're giving is based on self-limiting beliefs, is based on falsities. So any advice that they give you, for example, thinking like blockers or willpower will help you, are stupid, because the true reason that you're stuck is the self-limiting beliefs of the nofap community, like my libido just builds up, it prevents prostate cancer, I need to blah blah blah, and all of these are simply beliefs which are false and not based on anything, based on faulty science, based on old science. Nofap is like a cage which was made with good intentions but has bad psychology and eventually degenerated into something far worse. This is why I think you shouldn't listen to their advice, because guess what? They are all like crabs in a bucket, because they are all trying to pull you down and you all will be steamed alive, boiled alive if you don't get out. But they are all just trying to hold you back, telling you that no, this is wrong, using cult-ass language like Pxrn or day 97 semen retained or something else like that to make you feel part of the community. For example, they tell you that the solution is counting days, it's using willpower, which you think you can level up, which is again based on a whole brainwashing, which I'll get into later. Same with giving you fake confidence, which is thinking that okay, I'm getting better at not nutting, at not touching my dick, at not doing this, at not doing that. Same with fake connection. You go to these forums and they give you absolutely shit advice, but they will tell you, oh, go bro, day 7, I remember that, haha, you will make it too, or some crap like that. And whilst that may feel good, it doesn't get you results, it doesn't get you freedom. What you truly care about is freedom, and this is in no way an actual way to get that. So again, these are people who are pulling you down rather than actively helping you quit. It almost killed me, the advice that they used to give me, the guilt, the shame I had when I was doing nofap, and the damn bad thoughts that I had during it, right? And you don't need to go through it, you don't need to go through such suffering. But what you do want is not this crap, but instead real freedom, not just another ideology, not just another group to attach yourself to, but instead autonomy, true autonomy. Hey, before we get further into the video, I want to make sure that you like and subscribe and comment, because it will help other people find the video and actually help them get towards freedom like you are doing so right now. There's also a course which is in pre-sale right now, so if you're interested in that, because the price will only continue to get higher, then there's the link in the description below. So the thing that I'm talking about, competence, relatedness, autonomy, are all part of one theory called self-determination theory, and this is based on two things, right? It starts with independence and uncertainty. You are given rein on your actions. You are given uncertainty as to whether you will succeed or not. And depending on which one is stronger, it can positively or negatively impact your autonomy, your competence, your relatedness, and these all will help you determine your internalization or motivation. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, wherein I said that someone can have an introjected personality where they're motivated by guilt to do actions or to avoid actions. Someone's motivated by punishment or by not being motivated at all because they think that it's a pointless pursuit. So this is what it means. These are the motivational types, like integrated, and this is the source of motivation, and these are the characteristics. Simple as graph, right? So a motivation, you can guess, is simply thinking that motivation doesn't matter. I cannot do this. I have tried it multiple times and it doesn't work. And this is non-intentional. It doesn't value it. It's based on incompetence and lack of perceived control. You think you can do it, and hence you don't try, and hence you get worse at it, and hence you further think that you can do it. It's a whole ass cycle, and the only way to get out of it is to think up solutions and to actively try, experiment with it, right? The second method, and this can be done by compliance with reward or punishment to motivate you towards doing something. For example, if you get A star marks, you will get a PS5, some basic ass crap like that, or you will get a chocolate, or I will take away your chocolate if you don't do this or that. Something basic like that generally works with children, but as we grow, we need something better than that, because we need to self-regulate ourselves, and this is where introjection comes in. Introjected motivation is us internally trying to regulate our behavior by guilt, by understanding the negative consequences of what will happen. So this results in us having some level of self-control, of discipline, of understanding that, okay, this may have some level of benefit or whatnot, and because you internalize the reward, okay, I will do this if I do that, I will get this if I do that, and I will be the one who decides that. Because you start internally regulating yourself, you will slowly get better, and this is way better than external, which requires someone else outside of you to tell you what to do, and this isn't always possible. Now the fourth method is slightly better. If you can get to this area, I would say that you can easily quit pornography, and this is personal importance or conscious valuing. It means that this is something which I identify as something important to me. I identify this as something which will improve my life, which is something which is part of my values, right? And when you start thinking that, okay, I value freedom, I value not being in chains, I value this because it's important, because I don't want to remain a slave forever, then you will actively start to make progress. Same with integrated. Integrated is basically, this is a part of myself. Freedom is a part of my identity, and because I act with freedom in my mind, with freedom in my steps, I will eventually come to be free from pornography. And then there's intrinsic, which is the most highest, most inherent form of motivation that you can have. I enjoy freedom. I am freedom. I like freedom. I find inherent satisfaction from freedom, and this is so important to me that I will get it. And guess what? Based on your motivation type, you will have two types of results. The first is a positive outcome, which will result in these good outcomes, resulting in you boosting your competence, your independence, and this will result in stronger future motivation, stronger future likelihood, and hence your independence will be boosted, right? The same is with a negative outcome, because guess what? If you're using a motivation, or you're using externalized motivation or introjected motivation, you will have bad results, right? They will not last forever. So you will have bad outcomes, and hence that will result in increased uncertainty and weaken your motivation, which will increase your uncertainty and hence have a negative impact on your autonomy, relatedness, competence, and whatnot, right? So the only way that you can break these down is by understanding that real freedom begins when you start taking ownership for your actions. You stop blaming the advice on r/nofap. You understand that the people, your family, your friends, or the normal people who have had their own problems, who are just trying to figure it out, or just lonely and whatnot, and go to nofap because of that, are just trying to fix themselves. They may be stupid in the way of doing it, but they are still trying to fix themselves. And the one who has the reins over my own destiny isn't anyone else but me. So what actually builds change? It's building up your autonomy, which means owning your journey, owning your mistakes, and then learning from them. Owning also when you do something good, when you do make progress. And when you start doing that, when you start seeing that, oh, it's not the streak, it's not this, it's not the punishment which matters to me, but instead it's me making progress towards something which matters to me, and me becoming more freer as time goes on, building real skills. This isn't just about day 45 nofap, but instead about building emotional skills. For example, I may be using pornography to avoid a problem that I have. I don't like the stress associated with the problem, so I'm trying to overcome that by just trying to get rid of the emotion itself rather than getting rid of the problem. But because I'm not getting rid of the said problem, the problem is getting worse and more problems are stacking on. So overall, I realize that the best way to fix that is to start making progress, is to start working. And when I start doing that, I will make progress. Same with relatedness. Relatedness is connecting with real people with authentic values which matter to you. I have connected with Rehan and Ben, right? I actively talk to them. They all have similar values to me, and I am very happy to have them not just as my clients in the past, but also as my friends now. I talk to this guy on text at least once a month, and I talk to Rehan like once a week at least. So they are all very, very good people, very, very good friends that I've made, and that could happen because I was out on the internet or with my friends or in front of them with true authenticity, because I thought about my values, I thought what value to me, and I told everyone. And some people liked it, some people disliked it. It didn't matter, because I found a tribe, because I found some people who actively had values about improving themselves, about becoming free, about becoming someone that they could be proud of. And I'm grateful for the community that I have because of that. So again, this isn't about streaks. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't need pornography, who doesn't do things out of fear, but instead because this is a part of my values, which is what I've helped my clients become. I've helped them get identified and integrated regulation. This is a part of who I am. This is a part of my values. I am someone who's naturally just doesn't like porn. After I got rid of the brainwashings, I realized that. And when you start doing that, this is when your chains will break. The reason, again, that it's an emotional problem is that it started in your childhood, because let's say you were there as a child and you were left unsupervised on the internet, which means things are bound to go wrong, and you discovered something. Maybe you typed in something, and at the age of 9 to 12, perhaps even younger, you found something and you didn't like it, right? This is the kind of reaction you of course would have had, because it was the equivalent of walking in on someone doing it, and of course that's meant to cause some level of stress in you, right? The thing is that when you have a lack of understanding, when you don't have the vocabulary to describe what happened, you misinterpret the panic or the high dopamine which spikes in stress too, because your brain needs to learn, hey bro, this is not something that we should be going towards. But your brain, because of the lack of understanding, misinterprets this as something good, right? So you again go back to it, and hence it starts acting as a numbing agent until you become trapped in it for years and years on end. And the only way to get over this is not to go to numbing forever, but instead to start getting some level of emotional resilience, start solving the problems which you're running away from, and start removing the brainwashings which are the reason that you're using it in the first place. But you will continue to use it if your emotional reasons, your emotional needs of, let's say, competence, of autonomy, of fixing your own problems, of not confronting your deepest self, if they are left unaddressed, then you will of course continue to use it. So again, porn is a symptom of having too many pros on the sheets. You may think that, no, I don't want to use porn, there's no reason for me to use porn. But this isn't true, because you see some level of benefits in it. It could be the brainwashing from r/nofap, or some people tell you that it decreases your chances of getting prostate cancer or something else like that. But the point is that there are brainwashing inside of your head which are telling you that you need to use pornography. And when you start removing them, you will of course realize that, I don't need to use it. I don't even like using it. It was all based on a bunch of brainwashings, and now that I'm free, and you will realize that, now I'm free, I can easily move on and I can easily make progress towards freedom. So concentration isn't really improved. It causes brain damage. What do you think? Stress relief? Not really at all. Stress relief, it causes you more stress because you're constantly just fighting urges and whatnot. Education, read a book, bro. Same with porn as a friend. It's a very toxic friend, if you can call it that, and it doesn't help you make progress in life. It keeps you stagnant. It harms no one. It's harming you. Look at all of the mental distress it has caused you. I have low willpower. That's bullshit. Firstly, you can improve willpower by training it, and secondly, willpower is a false belief based on brainwashing. These are the types of thoughts that you will come to find that you get, and these could be logical thoughts like, okay, it helps me with my concentration. This could be mammalian thoughts which are like, it harms no one, it's my friend, blah blah blah. And this is of course false when you start looking into them. Same with the reptilian brain, which is like, oh my god, an urge, I can't fight it, I have low willpower and whatnot. And when again you start looking into it, you will find that these all are false and you are the one with power. One thing that you need to realize is that the brain is an organ, nothing more, right? You are not the brain. The brain's job, much like the heart's job is to beat or the stomach's is to digest, is to make up thoughts. Thoughts are sometimes good, thoughts are sometimes useful, but the thoughts exist separately from you. You are the person controlling the video game character, the one with the controller. You are not the video game character with all of his traumas, with all of his backstory, with all of his impulses and whatnot. You can control the character and make him better or worse as you see fit. You are the consciousness. I've said throughout the video that willpower isn't real, and that isn't an exaggeration. If you look at this graph, you will see firstly that willpower doesn't even work and that you shouldn't be using it even if it did exist. So let's say that you have a willpower limit of 40. You reach that within one day and then you relapse because you think, oh my god, I can't handle anymore. I need to de-stress, I need to rejuvenate. So you do that and you go back to day 3, you start again and you increase your willpower limit, but you still get to the same problem because even if you increase your willpower limit to like 50, the problem still isn't solved because stress just continues to increase. So it isn't a problem of having limited willpower, that is still a problem of brainwashing though, but instead of not fixing your damn problems, of not going about your problems and fixing them in the right way. And because you don't do this, because you don't have a good relationship with stress, there will always be more problems, which will always result in more reasons or justifications, and hence always have a desire to nut or go back to pornography or masturbation, right? And so I will say 2 things for this. The first is that willpower doesn't work because willpower doesn't exist. Willpower is an idea known as ego depletion in the scientific community, and it's all the way from research in the 1967. It has been proven false. This research has been seen as false because there have been replication attempts with over 2,000 participants which failed to find similar results with many other studies, as well as a meta-analysis which is basically taking one study and then another study and then another study and potentially dozens if not hundreds of them, and then looking at all of the research in one singular area and finding the results. This one found no solid evidence that ego depletion even existed. Ego depletion became popular in culture because it justified mediocrity of people, because they wanted to watch TV and they just thought, oh, I have limited willpower, look at all this research from the scientific community, not realizing that the research is over 70 something years old. So again, look at the newer studies like Job et al. Or Hollins or any other, and you will see that they have found that willpower doesn't exist. But instead, the ideas that you have about willpower, the fact that you think that, okay, if I run 100 steps based on some authority figure or anything else who told me that after 100 steps I will fall, I will proceed to fall because I will start to feel it. I will start to think that, okay, I am at step 80 and all of a sudden my heart is getting stuck in my chest. All of a sudden I have a hard time breathing. All of a sudden my eyes are dilating and my hands are becoming jittery and my legs are feeling like noodles. You start thinking that, and hence it becomes a reality, and hence you fall at step 90 or 100. But instead, if you started being mindful, which is the true method of willpower, which is the true way to actually have real discipline, then you will realize that, okay, I don't need to focus on the 100th step. Instead, I need to focus on this step right here. I need to focus on this second, this moment, this micro instant right here. And when I start doing that, I will realize that, okay, can I take another step? You think that, and then you will take another step, and then you will proceed to take another step and another step and another step until you end up taking 1,000 steps. This is what you're capable of, but only if you're willing to not have limits on your mind, because the laws of physics do not limit you right here. Your mind, your psychology, the way you think about everything does. Same with the ideas that you have about lust and the idea that it's a pressure tank which just continuously gets filled up and filled up and filled up until it explodes is false, and based on self-limiting beliefs, based on movies, based on books, and just people in your life who don't have any idea of how biology works, of how libido works, right? And so libido doesn't work like a pressure tank, but instead sperm and testosterone are reabsorbed in if unused, and there's no harmful accumulation of them in your body. Again, this has been known all the way since the 1980s. That's almost like, no, that is like 40 years, and people still haven't told you about it because, again, This is a belief which is useful for media. This is the belief which is useful for marketing, because oh my god, you want to be hot because your lust is building up like a pressure tank. Go buy my product, go buy this, go buy my V8 abs or whatever. And this is one reason why this belief, why this myth is just perpetuated in social media, in marketing and advertisements, etc. So this build-up sensation isn't real, but it's more about conditioning. It's more about belief, not biology. Second thing is that even if, let's say, the body doesn't want to reabsorb the sperm and testosterone, it can just make naturally occurring wet dreams, which I would argue are more pleasurable than normal ejaculation. Abstinence doesn't increase libido indefinitely. The desire flattens out or goes dormant at one point if it's not engaged with. Testosterone and semen production will continue regardless, because these are essential functions of the body, not based on libido, not based on anything else, but instead on your hormonal profile, on your health, on the fact that whether you're eating well and things like that. So libido isn't just increased by time, as I said. There's plenty of things going into it. There's your hormones, your diet, your testosterone, your dopamine, the mood, the context, etc. There's so many things, and you can't just say that there's a direct correlation between your time and increasing libido, because that doesn't make sense. Biological narratives, anything which you have in your brain which is saying that because of biology I need to nut, is false, because low testosterone is also used by many people, maybe sometimes you, as a justification to inaction, to fatigue or lack of motivation. And guess what? Any biological narratives that you have in your brain about testosterone, about lust and whatnot, are generally self-limiting beliefs. For example, if you have high testosterone, right, and then you nut and it goes down, then you will proceed to use something like, I have low testosterone, I have to not act because I'm fatigued, I don't have motivation or anything because I nutted and whatnot. And because you start telling yourself that, you end up not taking any actions, and then your stress builds up, and then you think, I have stress, I have high testosterone, I need to nut. So it's a constant cycle about these narratives, which again don't give you power, don't give you control, but instead lower your locus of control, lower your ability, your area of control, and instead make you and instead make your suffering self-fulfilling. Much like the willpower myths, they distract you from behavior-based change. They say that you are set in stone, there's a problem and you can fix it, and this is the best thing that you can do. But it's not true. It's based on self-limiting beliefs, and you can get rid of these self-limiting beliefs. Plenty of people throughout history have told you bullshit beliefs about sex, have told you bullshit beliefs about libido, which because they were famous, because they were weird or something, they have gotten very, very ingrained into our culture. And so people like Freud, who have been called the forefathers of psychology, have told people that sex is the only primary motivating factor for humans, which is completely false. We care about community, we care about family, we care about so many other things. So a reductionism to just sex, to just saying that we only care about passing on our genes or anything else based like that, is a drastic reductionism, is a drastic understatement of what humans can be, of what humans want to be. And I don't think you should be trusting this guy. He married his own cousin, so suboptimal information. This guy's name is Brinkley, and he took goat testicles. He cut off a man's balls, his scrotum, and just put the goat testicle inside in hopes that it would increase his testosterone. It didn't. I think most of the people died. Same with this Chinese emperor. He was a great strategician, he was a great emperor, he unified the entire kingdoms, the 3 kingdoms and whatnot, but he wanted immortality and he wanted to fix his erectile dysfunction, so he ended up taking mercury and died of mercury poison. So you can see that there's a lot of misinformation. People in China, even right now, are taking mercury as a way to fix their limpness, for lack of better words, and this is all due to misinformation. The essence of improving your testosterone, the essence of not being controlled by lust or by your willpower beliefs, is by actually questioning them, by actually looking at science, by actually looking at evidence, right? And if you're not looking at that, if you're just blindly trusting people, like, does this guy look trustable? If you are just blindly trusting people, then you will not get the things that you want. You will get duped. Alright, so last thing I'll say is that I have, throughout the video, fought against whatever self-limiting beliefs you have about yourself which are telling you no, you'll remain addicted. But I'll ask this, why the fuck is your brain not rooting for yourself? Why is it giving you stupid shit beliefs which keep you trapped? The thing is that thousands have quit porn, so why the fuck not you? People have overcome worse shit like heroin, abuse, trauma, and came out as free. So I ask again, why the fuck not you? Why do you deserve to be in chains? Why are you being told that you can't be free by your own damn brain? You are not broken, you are not helpless, you are lied to, and you can easily overcome these lies by simple intro. And you can easily overcome these lies by simple and you can overcome these lies by simple introspection. You Again, I'm saying it right now, you will be free if you want to make yourself free. I'm not telling you to mystify it or fear it like nofap does, or to logically or but instead to logically आ रहा हूं मैं but instead to logically break it down without mysticism, without fear, by seeing whether it's emotionally helping you, whether it's trying to give you something which it isn't actually giving you, whether it's like salt water. What you realize is that nofap is like a cave wherein they tell you that this is a cave, it's helping you, it keeps you away from the forest, which is dangerous. But that's the thing, you want to be in the forest, and you can easily do that when you start taking the first step. So the way you get into the forest is by firstly grounding yourself. Whenever an urge comes, you start understanding that you are in the present moment, that these urges do not control you, that you are someone separate from your urges. Secondly, it's to start writing your thoughts, your urges, your self-limiting beliefs, and start questioning them. And lastly, there's my coaching and courses, which again, if you're interested, I've helped multiple people and I can help you. I started this because I had my own problems with pornography, which lasted 9 years and made me a husk of a person I could be. So if you want to make it less painful, less longer than mine was, there's coaching, and then there's my course, which is on pre-sale right now. So that's all. Cheers.